guys, I'm just hearing now that the UFC might be for sale. I'm like, could that be possibly true? I'm thinking about it real hard from a financial perspective. Pay-per-view buys over the last couple of years have been down significantly, but here recently with Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor, they shot back up, especially with John Jones in the mix coming back, and a lot of the older stars, like they're trying to get GSP back and BJ Penn back in the mix, they're trying to drum up more interest, and they've already sold out at least about 20% to outside interest already. I gotta check verify that number, but I believe it's 20% to an outside interest already. They said that it was a Dubai marketing firm called Flash Media Technologies or Flash Media. Gotta verify that too. I'm just thinking, reason off the top of my head, why would they sell? I'm thinking about it carefully. And one of the things I'm thinking about is that if at some point the Muhammad Ali law is going to start applying to mixed martial arts, and then the promoters will have to disclose all the full amount of money that they make related to the fighters that is they have on contracts. They have to disclose that fully to the fighter. So they have to disclose the full amount for the royalties, they have to disclose the full amount that they make for cable, full amount. They have to disclose everything financially. So I'm thinking that the fighters now they want to be paid more money. And one of the things I noticed in the UFC contract in terms of royalties, they, sorry man, sorry about that. Changing season, like all these cherry trees, pollen and whatnot, sneezing all over the place. I just got back from a trip to Jamaica too, so that may have something to do with it. Okay, so where's I know? So as I was saying, so one of the things I've noticed in the contract it says that there's no right to audit royalties. So Conor McGregor may sell 30 million in cards and shirts, and he's supposed to get uh his 10% cut of that, so gonna be 3 million. Uh, if when that 30 million in revenue comes in under the contract, the UFC has the right to reclassify it if they see fit. So if they reclassify that 30 million in revenue as other revenue or miscellaneous income or media income, then he would not get any money at all, and he wouldn't know that because they don't have to disclose anything to him in terms of royalty, so he would know what he's entitled to. Now, if the Muhammad Ali Boxing Act applies to the UFC and they have to disclose those things, then he would know how much royalty he's entitled to, and even with them reclassifying it, he still would have a right to it. So more and more, once those type of laws start to come in play, and then there's this lawsuit that the UFC is involved in. It's a class action lawsuit with multiple fighters about ancillary right, the rights to their image, the rights to their likeness, and royalties. Once that lawsuit goes through, the UFC might be liable to pay out more money. And in addition to that, the UFC also has to deal with not only that, but just like how boxing as a union, at some point the fighters are going to unionize, and that push is strong and coming. Chung Lee, and not only Chung Lee, but also my man, the legend, the fantastic, the amazing, the wonderful Randy Couture. He's working behind the scenes and doing that and pushing the legislative machine. That's going to because of his experience in terms of his finances and what he had to do to protect his family. He's making moves and working with legislators and legislation and people in power who make laws that govern the way we live in terms of sports and what we consume to get that protection for fighters in terms of health insurance, benefits, their salary, their contract, their ancillary rights, royalties into perpetuity, those type of things. So that move is coming. So I could see the UFC saying, hey, we're at the height of our popularity in terms of what we're doing, and internationally we're trying to branch out in other markets, but Bellator is blocking us because they have a larger pipeline. At some point we're going to start seeing diminishing returns. At some point it's going to start going down. Let's cash out now. I could see them doing that. I could see it's a strong rumor. It's a possibility. I could see it happening. I'm still following it, but at some point the UFC is going to start losing revenue because of how they conduct the business, because of how they buy up smaller promotions, because of how the growth strategy and the contracts that they have and how they treat their fighters. I could see them wanting to sell because over the horizon the lawsuits and legal ramifications and revenue streams and that type of stuff is gonna start to it's gonna start to have impact on them. And Bellator, as shabby as Bellator is, or people believe it is, Bellator is slowly chipping away at the market share. So at some point they have to make a decision: do we cut our losses and get out now, or do we ride this thing out to the end? So in their position, I believe that they're going to try and get into the European market, do a few promotions, and if that doesn't work, they're going to try and make the moves to cut their losses. But for right now, they probably want to ramp up as much profits or do as much events as possible. So right now, they're probably that's why the reason why they're probably stacking the high profile events back to back like that and trying to build the media library. So for me, if I was buying the UFC as a person who deal in finances, I would not look I would not look at I would look at in terms of intangible assets. I would look at the video library. I think that that's the UFC most valuable, most best asset, the video library and the media pipeline that they have, which is not as big as it should be, but it is worth some money. And the margins on those are very good. And the royalties in terms of what they sell, I look at that, and the value of the contracts that they have with fighters. Because once the lawsuit goes through, those terms in the contracts may have to change in terms of what they disclose and what they pay. So I would look at those items. But for right now, I'm going to keep an eye on this thing that the UFC is going to be sold by the end of this year, and I got a strong feeling it's coming. I don't know why, but I just have that feeling based on what I'm seeing financially in terms of the pay per view buys, in terms of what they're doing, in terms of the events that they're putting on, and the way they're overutilizing Conor McGregor. You know, the fact that Holly Holm defeat Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey lost the belt. Well, Holly Holm isn't that a household name. It's going to take time to build her up to that stature to where she's a superstar. She can go to the media magazines and that type of stuff. So when Ronda had the belt, people would buy the fights because hey, everybody know Ronda Rousey. She's this, she's that. She's on the news. She's in magazines. Now Holly Holmes lost the belt to somebody who's lesser known. So now, how you promote a small name that's lesser known? Well, you got to push the big names. You got to push Conor McGregor. You got to push Daniel Cormier. You got to push John Jones. You got to push Chris Weidman. You got to push him and Luke Rockhold. But and you got to push Anderson Silver. And Besa, and Frankie Edgar, Chad Menendez, those star people. And then you got to try and bring back some of the older guys like BJ Penn, for instance, GSP. So that's the UFC right now. On the outside, I'd say everything is good. MMA is one of the fastest growing sport, but I'd say it's at the peak of its popularity, and we're gonna say start declining because of name recognition. Now, people internationally overseas, when they watch for their star. The Brazilians, they watch for Jose Aldo. Irish people watch for Conor McGregor. Those type of things because that's the draw of it. You want to see your guy. If you're a fan of fighting, you want to see your people do good. You know, Cain Velasquez, Brown Power. That's just type. That's just the way it is. You want to see people do good, and you want to see exciting fights. Now, last couple of years, we've seen some very exciting fights. Will there be another person like Anderson Silva who will be able to dodge punches when they're coming at him and do fantastic knockout moves and take chances? I don't think that's ever going to happen again because fighters are becoming more technical. They're learning about the tricks of the trade and they're banging hardcore. So I don't think that's going to happen again. I think no, we're going to start seeing a slow decline of pay-per-view buys, and it's going to move towards more of just a regular you watch on TV, like the Super Bowl, like any football, like NBA, and then the advertisements between, because the pay-per-view model is not sustainable. So I believe at some point either going to sell or move to a different type of model. That's my 2 cents. I'm going to keep an eye on it. And then the next time you see me, I'll probably be in my money chair downstairs, my financial calculator, and then we'll go over some numbers. All right, family. Peace out from the fight chair. Yeah, baby.